as we now talk a little Cardinals baseball, snapping the 6-game losing streak last night against the Indians, beating the Tribe 8-2. And Jim Heuer,
yes,
wasn't especially nice to see, I can't call them old cats because they're basically my age, but Adam Wainwright.
The veteran cats?
The veteran guys. Adam Wainwright, when you need someone to just stop the bleeding. Mm-hmm. Adam Wainwright, even though he goes out there, gives up a couple in the first inning, but he just shut the door. And with a team that's doing a lot of 5-inning starts, even though this was the 1 week where you could have some 5-inning starts because you have 2 off days this week. But still, for Adam Wainwright to go 7 innings like he did, to stop the bleeding for this losing streak, pitch really, really well. And then also, Matt Carpenter, another veteran. I'm just going out there on Twitter all the time, and I feel like I'm pretty positive.
You are.
Do I like to chirp here and there? Sometimes on the radio. Look, but sometimes on the radio and social media, it is fun to poke a little fun when things are down. All right, but I just do that more for content.
Yes.
Right? I'm actually a very nice, positive person.
100%.
But so many people out there are so down on Matt Carpenter that I now have gotten to the point where I love to see Matt Carpenter succeed to shut all of these people up. And don't get me wrong. I know Matt Carpenter is not worth the $18.5 million he's making. I get it. But we talked about him a lot early in the season when there were a lot of injuries. Harrison Bader's out. Tyler O'Neill's out. He's having to play basically every game. That's not a good role for him at this point in his career. But a night like last night, when he comes through with the 3-run double, has a walk, I just love to see Matt Carpenter doing well to shut some of these Twitter folks up. And by the way, look, I know he struggled to start the season, but Matt Carpenter, last 4 weeks, batting .273, .385 on base, .409 slug. Last 2 weeks, .320 average, .414 on base, .520 slug. So again, it's a smaller sample size. It's only a couple weeks or 4 weeks. But Matt Carpenter is actually hitting pretty dang well the last month.
He's playing, man. He's getting a chance. Look, when a guy produces, you got to give him credit. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you get guys that are fourth-line guys in hockey. You get guys that come off the bench in football.
Now, wait, fourth-line guys. We love those guys.
Don't ever say that again, Jimmy Heuer.
But you got to give him credit because there are guys that you go, this guy doesn't, he's not earning his keep. Well, you know, we talked about Carlos the other day. If Carlos comes back and throws 3 shutouts, you got to give him credit. I mean, you have to do that. Good for Matt Carpenter, man. Good for Adam Wainwright. Again, answering the bell, as you said, and more importantly, stepping up for his team.
Okay. I don't mind the criticism. Johnny had the Giovanni. Johnny, he didn't go on the mic, but he wants to talk about his best bet last night. So he won
he
money.
Got all 3 bets yesterday, as a matter of fact.
What'd you get?
So,
What'd you get, Mr.
I made the Cardinals the supreme great bet of the entire decade last night. Cardinals, Wainwright. I said, when Wainwright, if there's one guy who's going to end this and right this ship, it's Wainwright. Had 2 other picks.
You got them all, I believe.
Do we do this on radio, or do you tweet it out?
Well, sometimes I tweet, sometimes I do it on radio because I don't want people. I have become popular enough and good enough that I change lines. Yeah. So when I come out with my picks,
money moves.
Right. So I have to change it up.
Good motion.
I have to change
Vegas. There are guys in Vegas that are just they're refreshing John's Twitter feed.
They're guys in Western Illinois sports books.
John, this is Juan from Basel.
Western Illinois. That's funny.
You know?
Hey,
Hans from Germany. Did you just give your picks?
Yeah. Here's the deal.
6-1 the last 2 days, by the way.
Nice. That's impressive.
Well, you should follow him then.
I do. Mr. Sports.
Mr. STL Sports. I don't mind criticism of Matt Carpenter. He's making 18 schmil. I don't mind it. Are there death threats going on? That's a different story. But if they're ripping him, I don't care about that until but my point is, if he does do well, then chime back in and be like, okay, I was wrong. I don't mind that. But the ripping on a guy making 18, I don't care.
I get it. And I did say that. I did say that. I said, I prefaced this by saying, is he worth the $18.5 million right now? Absolutely not. I'm not turning that money down when I get that extension. I'll tell you that. I'm not turning that money down when I was, a 9th round pick? What round was he? making $500,000, putting up
You're worth what anybody pays you.
That's true.
High or low.
13th round.
But you're worth getting criticism, too, because of that.
Well, that's part of being a professional athlete,
doubt.
right?
No
Again,
doubt.
my point is more so this. There's nothing Matt Carpenter is going to do the last couple years when he got the extension to live up to that contract. 100%. Remember, though, this was a great Cardinal. He's one of the best draft stories ever for the St. Louis Cardinals. Remember, this is a college guy that stayed till his 5th year at TCU and was a 13th round pick that became an all-star type guy, hitting 55 doubles and getting MVP votes. So again, that's back in the day. My point is more so, I like the fact, because I know how people are, I know how I am. When you dig in on your opinion, it's really hard to admit you're wrong. And so again, you have these diehard Cardinal fans, but you have these diehard Cardinal fans. They love the Cardinals, but they've also been ripping on Matt Carpenter so long. You know that deep down, like, they can't even now see him succeed because it goes against what they've been railing against for 2 years.
Politicians.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
It's tribalism.
They're politicians. It's exactly what happens. Like, where they're like, well, America's great, but remember this, though. I'm negative. No, he's doing good. So just be like, hey, damn, all right, what's up? Make that money. Earn that money, I should say. Earn that money. Whatever you need to do. Here's what I hate on Twitter. The psycho Twitter, and I don't want to get too off track, but real quick, the psycho Twitter people that hate violence or hate something in particular, but then they see something and they're like, kill their family. Burn their house down. They suck. He elbowed the guy. He should be. And now you're affecting violence against violence that you just saw. You're a psychopath. I hate all you weirdos when you do that stuff. But if you're bashing a guy making 18 schmel, that sucks. I don't care. But then pump him up whenever he does well. That's it. That's it, baby.
Be fair.
Be fair.
Be fair. And you can say, look, he's not living up to 18.5. He's hitting 184 on the season. His OBP is 319, which isn't terrible, by the way, for a 184 average. But he's actually been pretty dang good the last couple weeks and the last 4 weeks especially. And if that's his role, a guy who's not starting every game, but giving you some clutch pinch hits, and if guys are out, you can play a little first. You can DH when you have a chance. There is a role for him. And I'm just saying, I've gotten to the point where I really love seeing Matt Carpenter succeed just to shut these people up.
Whatever you say, Charlie Bezos.
Thank you. Thank you for saying it. Charlie Bezos.
I should say Bezos.
So you got big series coming up after the off day. So the Cubs in first place, Brewers in second, half game back. You got the Cardinals 3 games back, Reds and Pirates. It is what it is. But Jim Heuer, this is where you look at the Cubs series at Wrigley, full capacity, by the way. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful to see Wrigley packed to the gills there. But you see how the Cardinals lined up their rotation. So, and this makes sense. You use the off day, so you have a 4-man rotation. And you just look at this series, it's Oviedo, it's John Gant, and it's Carlos Martinez. And when you say those names, we all know Flaherty's out. Miles Michaelis is out. KK is out. Before the season, we knew that Dakota Hudson was going to be out. But if the Cardinals can win 2 of 3 with Oviedo, Gant, Carlos Martinez in Wrigley on the road against a team that's in first place, that's going to be very, very impressive. Now, they have to do it, but we discussed yesterday, the last time the Cardinals this year have had an impressive series, in my opinion, which is beating a good team and winning a series, you got to go back about a month to when they took 2 of 3 from the Brewers. So for the Cardinals, great job last night, stopping the bleeding, stopping the 6-game losing streak. Let's also be real, the Cleveland Indians aren't that great. Shane Bieber's a stud. You knew that game was probably going to go that way. But now Cardinals, to take the next step, go to Wrigley and take 2 of 3. It's not going to be easy, Jim, but that would really impress me.
If you do that, because it's a big if. This is not, hey, you know what, I'm confident about that because I'm not. But if you do that, you kind of start to erase away all the bad tidings you've had over the last 7 where you've lost 6 out of the last 7. Because you feel better about it because it's the Cubs, right? It's the first place team. It's the team you're chasing. Now, reality tells me probably not going to happen. You're probably lucky to get 1. And that's why I think last night's game was that much more important for Waino to step up and stop the bleeding. Because if you lost 7 in a row heading into Wrigley and you got the rookie Oviedo pitching in game 1, who you're hopeful to get 4 to 5 innings and has a problem walking guys in a park where walks are kill you, it's not looking good for you. And you're really down going into this thing. But because you win last night, you mentioned the veterans coming through. You got Waino coming through. How about Tyler O'Neill? I mean, he's hot as heck. He might have 4 home runs this weekend in Wrigley if the wind's blowing out.
Bro Neal.
So that was a big win last night. You feel much more confident. And reality is nobody will come out and say it. The Cardinals owe the Cubs 2 out of 3 because Cubs got 2 out of 3 out of here a couple weeks ago. So,
sure did.
Yeah.
That Sunday night baseball game with the strike zone, that was as large as the Atlantic Ocean there on Sunday night.
Yeah.
So Adam Wainwright, though. Adam Wainwright now, ERA right around 4. He got the job done. And here's another guy where, think back 3-4 years. You didn't know if Waino would ever be Adam Wainwright again. If because of health, he would have to hang him up. And now look, because of the injuries I've already mentioned too, Hudson, Flaherty, Michaelis, KK, Adam Wainwright, who is my age, he's 39, is now the stalwart right now of your rotation. With Flaherty out, he is the ace.
Again.
And I just think we think about this guy, is he going to come back? Is he going to retire? Where would they be without Adam Wainwright? And that's where you also have to be realistic, which is why I said if the Cardinals can go up to Wrigley and take 2 of 3, I will be really, really impressed. However, let's be real. When you see that your rotation, you got Wainwright, he's been really strong. But right now you're going with a 4-man. And you're lining up Johan Oviedo, John Gant, who for a long time was really good as a 5-inning type pitcher. Carlos Martinez has been very volatile, up and down. But when you see that you're going up to play the first place team, and it's Oviedo, Gant, Carlos Martinez for that series, that just screams they need help. It just screams even more so that they need somebody.
What do they do then?
Well, Shelby Miller could be
He's a free agent,
an option.
What do you do?
But Shelby Miller, who's had good numbers in the minor leagues, small sample size, and we know his history here. He was really good, was an all-star that 1 year with the Braves. But you need someone from outside the organization, a major league pitcher, to come in here and just help out. It's got to be somebody that can go at least 6 innings and give you a winnable start.
Who do you find, and what do you have to get rid of or give up?
Well, it depends on the contract. So is it a rental? Is it a guy like we were discussing last week, Jim Heuer, a Kyle Gibson? And I know you had mentioned Ian Kennedy, where could you get a starter and a closer in a package from a team? Yeah. Ian Kennedy is now on the injured list, and Kyle Gibson was also on the injured list last week. But Kyle Gibson, so you'd get a pitcher like that for a year and a half. So you have next year's contract. And remember, this is a Cardinals team that before the season started, and even in the offseason, the reason a lot of people thought they wouldn't make a big deal for Nolan Arenado, or even if you heard Francisco Lindor, was because they didn't want to add payroll for 2021. They were able to pull off the Nolan Arenado deal and have Colorado pay for that contract this year. So next year, when this money comes off the books, which is Carpenter, Dexter Fowler, who's no longer here, the Arenado deal pays for itself with those guys coming off. You just wonder, though, if you weren't going to add payroll this offseason, even though right now you have a serious need in the starting rotation and the bullpen, how much money are you going to add to this payroll right now?
Well, they're making money now, so I don't know. What's their budget now?
That does help, certainly.
You know what? You're right. Having full capacity in the stadiums definitely helps, because if it wasn't, I think they'd be like, we've got to sit around and watch a little bit more.
And I don't mind that. I don't blame anybody for doing that. I mean, if Tom Summer's like, well, we can't do it this year.
Money's
go
money.
To the Capitals, like, well, okay.
That's all you got to spend. That's all you got.
It is what it is. So this is going to be interesting. Go ahead.
And that's where sometimes the worst thing is uncertainty. So if you're the Cardinals, when you entered this season, you really had no idea what the capacity was going to be. Now, all the numbers starting off, was it 30%? Was it 13,000? Whatever the number was. You heard that number for a long time, that they were going to start the season around 13,000 fans in a building that can get 45, 46, whatever it is. But you didn't know when that was going to increase. And who knows? What if the numbers continue to go up where the Cardinals didn't have full capacity? Okay, so you have an uncertain budget. You have all these uncertainties with revenue. And even though this first 60 games, it's probably sucked from a bottom line perspective for the Cardinals, at least they now know June 14th, full capacity. So they can go to their models.
Right.
What do we usually make starting in the middle of June with full capacity for the last 100 or so games of the season. So they now know they're going to have full capacity for the last 90 or 100 games, and so they can bank on that.
So if you're an ownership group and you're cheap because you have other endeavors going on that don't help that particular city, right? Okay, so if the Cardinals are like, okay, look, just like a business and restaurant business, like how many people can we get in here, whatever the case is. But if they want to be cheap with different things because they're building up the city, which when you go down there and you see cranes for the first time in a long time because of the DeWitts, like cranes in your city, go to Nashville. There's 50,000 of them. But now those are Billy DeWitt. Those are their cranes. They're making St. Louis safer and easier and everything. So it's like I don't blame them that much because they have something particular that helps this city. But some other owners maybe have something else going on. They're like, I'm just going to be cheap. Then why are you owning the team? You know, we talked about this before. So I don't know. It's a lot of people say every owner's cheap. You just don't know really what's going on and really what they spend. And I don't know, man. I give a little bit of leeway to at least the St. Louis ownership groups.